Angel Lanas is going to close the first edition of the Sino-Spain Biomedical and Pharmaceutical Conference.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very sorry to be here giving the closing speech. And this is due to the invitation made by our host here. Well, I will try to be short, but I'm not going to speak about any gene, any protein. I'm just going to give you a small, review of how we are in Aragon. Don't worry. So it's apparently very long outline, but this is going to be short. I will touch just the biomedical research structure here, essentially in Aragon. What kind of research programs we have. I think it's important for all of us to know that. I will just say how good we are with the major achievements we have obtained in the last 10 years, and perhaps just a few words for potential collaboration. Well, talking about how we are doing in Spain regarding our contribution to the world science. Well, you can see here how, I'm sorry, can you just expand this? Sorry. Okay, you can see that Spain contributes with 3% of the whole production, scientific production in the world. And also we are improving how we can get back from the European Union in terms of money. And we are doing much better. You can see from the early times to now, we are just getting around almost 20%, 10% of money from the European Union, and things are improving this year and the year before this one in 2017. The proportion of money returned from what Spain is putting in for the European Union is going up, so we are doing better. Here you have how is our contribution. You can see how the United States and China are those who contribute a larger number of scientific documents. Spain is here, right in the middle. But in terms of excellence, we are not doing that bad because our degree of excellence is about 13, compared to, for example, the USA is 15.2 and China is 8.9, and we are doing much better than in many other countries, even European countries. Here, however, we are not doing that good in terms of how much the state is putting money for research. This is something that you know. Only 1.19 of our gross internal product is being invested in research, much lower than, for example, South Korea, Israel, Japan. But so this is what we have. And this is in part is due to the economical crisis. You can see how we have a big drop in 2011, where just being coincident with the economical crisis, there was a big drop. But however, many of us think that the drop in investment was due to a important decrease in the money being put for investigation, civil investigation. However, the highest drop was in military investigation, and the civil investigation, or the investment in investigation for example, our type of research, was very much maintained. So I think that this is important to know, because we have, I think, a misconception on this particular thing. And what we are doing in Aragon? Well, in Aragon, we are among the autonomic regions investing less compared to other autonomic regions in our country. If we compare, for example, Aragon with Madrid, Catalonia, the country Basque or Navarra, for example, we are very, we are not doing very well. A little bit better than others, but in general, I think that we need to increase this. We know that we have a promise from our government, just to increase this amount of money for research, and I believe that they are trying to do that the best they can. Well, however, we need to also to understand that the population, we are due to our population. So we are doing research for our people, for our patients. So, and how they think about this? Well, you can see that the social image of science and technology is very good. So it's over almost 60% of the population thinks that investment in science and technology is good, is much better. The benefits are much higher than the detrimental aspect of research. And the social image also, the spontaneous social image of the population is just close to 16%. So they say that it's very good to invest money on our type of research. Well, how we manage this in Spain? Well, at least in the public system, we know that there are important platforms, also network collaboration as Pretix or the CIBER, and in Aragon we are involved in essentially in most of them. Especially, for example, in CIBER, we have groups being involved in most CIBERs. And also the other aspect that the Carlos III is putting a lot of money is in trying to accredit institutes in hospitals. And today, the number of institutes being accredited by Carlos III is not, they are not many. They are around 30. For the last 2 years, we have no one accredited, and we have lucky just to put at least one in our community. Well, how we are organized here, at least in terms of biomedical research? Well, essentially, 80% of biomedical research is concentrated at the University of Zaragoza, but then today we have essentially not talked about any researches being focused in our hospitals, apart from Roberto Pazo, yes, in the last table. But there are many good researchers just working at clinical levels, both in the university hospital, the clinic hospital, and also the Miguel Servet Hospital. And these three institutions, the University of Zaragoza, the hospitals, our health system hospital is the Salud, and the IACS, are together working, making this Aragon, the Aragon Health Research Institute. This is the new logo, by the way. So, and I think that we need to take the advantage of being accredited by the Institute Carlos III, because essentially the biomedical research, and I will say that most allied investigators are also in some way related to our institutes. And what is our aim? The aim is to make research being productive. So essentially, we want to turn hospitals into research centers for translational research. Essentially, we want to join the clinical, the basic science with our clinical research. And this is the best way to translate our knowledge to our patients. So how many doctors are involved in this? Because, today, for example, everything was essentially basic scientists. But I need to say that we do have a lot of clinical investigators in our hospital. Here you have the total number of medical doctors working in the two big hospitals, the Miguel Servet and the clinic, and the University Clinic Lozano Blesa. Just close to over 1,500. Well, half of them, 55% of them, are in some way doing more or less some kind of research within the institutes. And what about medical residents? So this is the future. because this is one of the problems we have in clinical research, which is the number of young doctors who are or who may be interested in doing research. Well, you can see that this is the total number of residents we have in these two hospitals, and only 7.8% are involved in some kind of research. So this is something that we need to take into account and try to put our efforts in this young population. Which are the programs we have? We have right now 6 important programs which essentially integrate about 80 groups working in either the University of Zaragoza with the allied investigators and in the hospitals and the EACs. The programs are the neuroscience and mental health, immunity, cancer, and infectious and molecular-based diseases, cardiovascular, technology, which is very much connected with the, also the program within the Iberus, and the research and innovation in nursing and healthcare, and the public health, chronicity, health service, and primary care. Which are our strengths? Well, in neuroscience, we have a long and well-established collaboration with high cohesion between clinical and basic research groups. In the immunity, cancer, and infectious and molecular-based diseases, I think that we have a very highly qualified scientists. We've seen this in the last session we have today, and also in other sessions we have in this morning. In cardiovascular, we have very important research groups that they are collaborating very well with industry, and also there is a very good connection between basic and clinicians. And in technology and innovation applied to health, I will say that the integration with the different engineers community within the University of Zaragoza is very important, as we will see now, and they have a very important experience and in collaboration with clinicians that has been started for the last 5 years. And nursing and healthcare is something new, is a new program, and I think that this needs to be developed. And the public health, chronicity, health services, and primary care, I think that the big data and all this collaboration with engineering also, I think that will produce very good results in the future. And talking about the different engineering in different institutes within the University of Zaragoza, I think that this is something where we want to put a lot of efforts, because we believe that we need to incorporate this population, so these researchers working in the different engineering community within the hospitals, because we believe that if they are within the hospitals, the capacity of the hospitals to innovate and to do translational research will improve very much. And I can tell you that right now we are just trying to create 5 to 6 laboratories to integrate these researchers within the hospital. Well, it's important the internationalization in different programs that we have, the European calls, American calls, especially with Latin America and NIH. We have groups that they are working with that. And what about our achievements? So I think that we are doing quite well. You could see that in 7 years, we have multiplied by 3 the impact factor of our groups. You can see that since 2011 to last year, we have passed from 862 scores, points, to over 2,600 points in the last year. So I think that we are doing very well. This means that our groups are really working within an excellent environment. And of course, that particular score were obtained due to very high and excellent publications in quartile 1 and quartile 2. 70% of them are within this group. What about Aragon in terms of production compared to other regions? We are doing quite well. You can see that although the investment is not still very high, we hope that this will increase. So within this classification of scientific production, you could see that we have about 50%. Our production is international collaboration. 56.56% are quartile 1 publications. So I think that we are in the middle high group of these autonomic regions. Also, we have increased very much the number of people working in our area, serving our research investigators. You could see that in 4 years, we have multiplied by 8 the number of people serving our researchers. And what about the top Spanish scientists working in the health system? So this is one classification of the top 656 Spanish scientists with higher impact on health science. And you could see that in all of these different categories, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas where the Aragonese researchers are on top of those researchers. And here you have, for example, in health science, essentially Luis Moreno, everyone knows that is our top researchers, Antonio Herrera, myself, sorry for citing myself, and also in Huesca, so this is Zaragoza, in Huesca, Francesca Monticelli, and also 2 important veterinary scientists, Pilar Santolaria and Jesus Luis Yáñez. And in biology, Carlos Martín Montañés, of course, nobody needs just to introduce these top researchers that we have. But if we look at the people working in the different engineering schools, you could see that we have no less or at least 20 important researchers. Of course, I mean, some of them are right here, Jesus Santamaría, Neira, Pablo Laguna, en fin, I don't want just to name some of them. Well, of course, we are just being much better in producing patents that could be or could have some kind of economical impact. Here, the University of Zaragoza is very good in doing this. At the Institute, we have these 3, at least in collaboration. This one is essentially from the University of Zaragoza. I want to outline that probably this is one of the best achievements we have in our community. So one of the most promising vaccines against tuberculosis is being developed by the group of Professor Carlos Martín. Right now, there is a trial being developed in South Africa, where Carlos is right now, just trying to control the trial should be in good way. But I want also to outline other people or other groups that has not been mentioned during this day. And I want to outline, for example, people working at the clinical level, like Luis Pablo and his group in the ophthalmology service at the Miguel Servet unit and the Department of Surgery. They are leading, it's a leading group, not only in Aragon, not only in Spain, not only in Europe, it's around the world. They are being called everywhere just to show how well they are doing in eye research. Other people, in cardiovascular, you could see that, for example, you know, this, I will say, bunch of investigators within the Antorcha project, you could see that many researchers being working in the hospital and also at the university. They are leading a lot of different projects within this particular cohort of people working in the OPEL, is around 6,000 people working in Opel. They are being followed for many, many years, and a lot of different investigators are doing research, very important research, with very good publications, and doing great findings in patients in terms of not only cardiovascular diseases, but also on cancer and renal investigation. And I want also to call the attention of some groups that are really reference for not only Aragon, also for Spain and the world, working on mitochondrial disease group. They are reference, they are receiving many samples from different hospitals for clinical diagnosis. They are really doing very, very well. And also, this morning has been presented some data on one very deadly disease like ELA. Well, you know, I want just to name Rosario Osta and his group, that they are also collaborating. They are basic researchers, but they are also collaborating with clinical investigators in the two big hospitals that we have in Zaragoza. Pedro Bautista has presented this important research this afternoon. And also, yes, we heard about this important research being presented by Julián Pardo. There are many, many others, but I don't have time just to go over all of them. I want just to call the attention that we have a lot of potential for collaboration, not only within Europe, within Aragon, not only within Spain, not only within Europe, but also with other groups in Asia and, of course, in China. I think that this potential collaboration is being funded by different bodies in Europe, also within Aragon, but we would like to have a very fruitful collaboration also with China and with the Nanjing Tech University. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.